Hi, we're looking at the value chain now, so let's look at the answers there. And we can run through these pretty quickly because fortunately it's pretty straightforward. So as we discussed before, it's COTS, straight off the shelf, almost no risk involved. We're very close to COTS, just tiny modifications that have been done a lot. Moderate risk, if it's maybe COTS, but it needs some customizations, or more or less customization. That makes it moderate risk, and if it's totally new, well, that's very high risk. So the other thing with the answers here is you got to read the questions carefully, because they're formulated in such a way that if you just assume you're just asking about the risk of everything, you're going to get it wrong. Some are what's not the risk, what's the lowest risk, what's the highest risk, so on and so forth. Anyways, the answer to question number 1 about the nanocomposite arm is C. This is a classic unproven technology. So C. The answer for number 2 deals with cable timely delivery, cable systems timely delivery. These are very COTS, very low. Here we're saying what is the software, not what's the risk level on this, and it's not very low because it's not COTS. We do have some customization we have to do. The next one, the answer is B, moderate. This is for the software controlling the arm, and while it's custom work, there's a lot of similar stuff out there in the market that deals with helicopters and other purposes, and the company is already interviewing vendors and hopes to select a vendor soon, so the ability of finding a vendor is moderate. Finding a sensors vendor, again, we're basically dealing with COTS, so it's probably a very low risk. What's the biggest risk is probably on these set is D, which is the release mechanism, and one reason that's likely to be the integration of the release mechanism likely to be among the highest risk is because it's described in the background information as a challenge. So that's tipping you off that it's going to be a risk. When we get to question 7, we're dealing with the arm, and this is a new and unproven technology, so it's not going to be a very low risk, so A. When we get to the next question, which is question 8, the answer is C, and the reason it's C is the sensors are just not going to be high risk. This is basically COTS, only moderate customization. So inventory and delivery of spare parts, well, since it's relatively to package, you can put this in the contract with the vendor that you will maintain a certain amount of inventory that you can ship to our customers directly, or we'll buy extra inventory that you drop ship to our customers or ship to us or whatever. So that's easy enough to plan around and to deal with. Now, what's the safest assumption for making with the packaging for delivery? Well, the safest assumption is always to assume the risk is very high. So we always start with the assumption that there's a lot of risk, and then we bring it down to what we think we can realistically attain or tolerate. That same logic works for the training. It's D here because in the absence of other data, we have to assume that all the trainings have pretty significant risk, and we'll have to deal with them until we understand, there's a lot of training already out there for this, or a lot of training for that, and we haven't discussed that. And finally, the last question, number 11, is the lack of repair technicians. And it's B. The sensor system is basically COTS. It's plug and play. A lot of these out there, so it's pretty, and you can just ship it back to be repaired because you drop a new one in. So the risk there is only moderate. So that's our answers once again. Number 1, C, number 2, A, number 3, A, number 4, B, number 5, A, number 6, D, number 7, A, number 8, C, number 9, C, number 10, D, and 11 is B. Okay, let's look at some tips for the next exercise, which is the SWOT, where we're starting to deal with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to think about how this gets marketed, what the 4 Ps are: product, place, price, promotion, and positioning. Sometimes call one, sometimes the other. Strengths and weaknesses are always internal. Opportunities and threats are always external. One you can control, the other you can't control. So this exercise requires some thinking and common sense. By now you should have learned, when in doubt, try web searching. For example, if you do not understand the concept of pay-as-you-go or pay-per-use, search for information and read about it to see if you can garner some insights about what is the correct answer. If the question asks about the advantages or disadvantages of something like pay-as-you-go, add pay-per-use, advantages and disadvantages to your search screen and see what pops up. Be aware there's a ton of stuff on SWOTs, about SWOTs on the web. If you do read about SWOTs, always remember SWOTs get used for a whole slew of different things, so you always have to remember, what am I trying to figure out? What are the strengths or weaknesses with respect to what I'm trying to figure out? What are the opportunities and threats with respect to what I'm trying to figure out? A SWOT on the same product in the same new product development project can be done dealing with the marketing mix. It can be done with what makes the most customer-driven design, what's the best design we can have, right, what should we use to make it, what should our value chain look like, where are we weak in the value chain, where are we strong, we're using all these kinds of things. So just be aware while you're using a SWOT. Okay, have fun with the SWOT, and I will be back at the answer video for that module. Thank you very much.